Hello, everyone, and welcome to the stream. Who do we have in the chat? Alethea, Mrs. G, Max Rollins, and Amateur Season. Welcome to you all. So, before we begin, as usual, we do a little bit of update and then we start with the part that regards the show. So, this week I asked you in the community tab of the channel if you want to see the whole edit of when fans keep going too far, completely uncensored, or if you want to see just the uncensored section. So a vast majority said, show us the whole video, and so the whole video you should have. It will come out on, I hope to get it out on Tuesday, maybe even on Monday, but I think I have pretty much locked it down on Tuesday. So this is for what's coming in the future. Now, next week, we are not going to do a stream. We'll do directly a new episode of The Chop. And we are going to talk about something unusual that I noticed with the Queen. We are going to talk about it a little bit in this stream, but we're going to see the complete thing in a new episode of The Chop. So next week we'll just skip a stream and go directly to the episode. That's because it's just too much work to do both of them. And the problem is that next week I need a little bit of time to back up my computer, do a complete formatting of it, because last update with Windows completely destroyed it. It became like extremely slow. So I need a fresh start and I need the time to do that. So this is for what concerns next week. We have some other people in the chat. Andre Trapanier, is that correct? Hello. Celestial Pearl, Velho 765, and Silva D'Amico. Happy Easter, everyone. I hope you're with your family. I had a nice dinner with Mr. Invisible. We had a bottle of Prosecco, and I'm still accusing a little bit of it, so it's going to go like this. This episode is going to go like this. One more thing before we get to the episode itself. I had some new people coming to the Patreon, and I want to really thank you for that. It's not that the channel depends on it, because it doesn't. We will still continue to do our thing. But if you can afford a coin and you want to throw it this way, I really appreciate it. I don't like asking. It always feels a little bit, I just don't like it. So we'll keep it at that. Thank you for those who came. Now, let's go to the episode. Brita is continuing her descent into madness. She is completely destroying her head. I feel so sorry for Brita. She shouldn't even have gone to Drag Race. She is too emotional. You are not supposed to be so emotional to lose it so much when you go in the show, and it's a bad look. It's an awful look, and of course the edit is running with it, but she's also not doing anything to make her headed a tiny bit better. So the episode starts, and the first thing we're treated of is Brita saying that, oh, she loves Aiden and she cares for him, and no. After what we've seen going on before, you are not supposed to go at it like that. It's still television. I'm not saying what she's saying is fake, but there is way of saying things, and the way she's been saying it, it's not a good look. It's just not a good look. So let's see this clip of Brita.
I love Aiden. She stuck with it.
She certainly did.
I'm proud of that bitch.
Once again, you can just taste the fakeness in the air.
We love you, Aiden.
Everybody wants to act like they actually gave a shit about Aiden. You all wanted her gone.
My God. You know what? This episode I've been completely leaving for Widow. She is calling everybody out. She's just letting everybody have it. She is unstoppable. She's a force of nature. We're going to talk about her later. Now, last episode, our prediction was that Brita would go home, and of course, she went home. She went home because her storyline was over. This is not real life. This is television. There are storylines. There is a script to follow, and her storyline was over. When your storyline is over, you go home. But 2 new storylines opened up for the next, 4 or 5 episodes that we have in the season. The first one regards Heidi. We have this moment between Heidi and Gigi, which is concerning what happened in the Untucked the episode before. So to make it as short as possible, basically Gigi is coming off and saying, well, you should have improved a little bit more on your makeup. Because that's what the judges wanted. And it looked to me like this feedback was unwanted. It was unrequested. It just looked, of course, we don't know because there is the edit, but it just looked like it was unsolicited. And Heidi didn't take it well. And the day after, when they filmed this actual episode, you can see that her reaction was really, she was not pleased. She was not pleased at all.
During Untucked, Gigi, I don't understand why you pointed out that I haven't really improved in makeup-wise. Damn, bitch. Came across very like, she's an ugly bitch and fuck my drag and fuck my face. I've never
Listen, Heidi, Go ahead.
I've never said I didn't know why I was in the bottom.
I really respect you and what you do.
I respect you, but I lost some respect for you today.
So what's going on between the 2 of them? Well, you might think, let's look at what happened to the person who went against the hero of the season, Aiden. Aiden went home. So is the same going to happen to Heidi? I don't think so. We're going to talk about this during the speculation, but I don't think so. What we know at the moment is that a new storyline between the 2 of them has opened. So this might mean that we get to keep Heidi a little bit more in the race. But I want to talk a little bit about this because there is something that I want you to notice. Gigi is young, okay? She was 21 years old at the time of filming. She's not a perfect queen. She's been given a lot of help during the whole editing of the season. And this rubbed a lot of people in the wrong way, to the point that they are projecting this thing to the queen herself. She cannot help the fact that the edit is the way it is. She's just there doing the best that she could. But she made a mistake, because one thing that you learn growing up is that if someone doesn't ask for your feedback, you should simply not give it, because you're going to put yourself in a difficult situation, and possibly you're also going to hurt people with your feedback, even if you have the best intention to do it. If your feedback is not requested, just don't give it. But if you decide to give it, you need to understand that there is such a thing as timing. You can come out with the most righteous thing to say in the world, but you have to do it at the appropriate time. Because if you forget to do that, it doesn't matter how right you are, it's just the wrong time to do so. And doing so before an elimination to a queen that has already shown that she has some vulnerabilities carrying on during the race, it was really the wrong timing. So I completely understand the reaction that comes with it, but I am curious to see what the editors are going to do with it. Because let's not forget, now that Brita is out of the race, new storylines need to open, because it's TV. People want drama, and people are going to get drama. No way, one way or the other, they are going to get it. So this brings us to the other storyline that opened up, which is, where is it? Here. Guido versus Jackie. Now, I don't know if you noticed, but this storyline, at least hints of this storyline, have been disseminated throughout the whole season. I have noticed in the very beginning, when we had episode 1, there was this huge argument between Guido, Jackie, and Brita. And then I caught Jackie stirring the pot a little bit in the workroom after all. And then again in Untucked. And then 2 other times during the season, I saw Jackie trying to, put a little bit, I'm not saying it was malicious in the intent, but she was called out. Guido called her out. So we know that even though we were all busy looking at what was going on between Brita and Aiden and everybody ganging up and so on, this thing was a little bit lost, but it's always been there. In the back of our minds, it was put there. So now it's finally flowering. And why is it flowering? Well, because we need a villain. That's the point of it. And this villain is Widow. There is no doubt about it. We caught the shady editing of Widow in episode 1. We caught it again in episode 5 when there was Gay's Anatomy. It was that episode when they basically had shots of Widow bitch facing everyone. We caught her traveling in time. We actually caught 2 of these reaction shots that looked like they didn't really belong there. So there is no doubt that our new villain that will carry us on for I don't know how long is Widow. How rightful is that? I don't know. I'll let you decide about that. But since what happened to the last Untucked, there is definitely something finally going on between the two of them, and the editing, of course, cannot pass on such an opportunity. And we had 2 different moments in the introduction of this episode. This is moment number 1, where we see Widow completely giving up to trying to play the race in a sisterly manner. Sorry.
It is what it is. Like, I failed in the challenge. I did not need y'all to come in there and stab a bitch in the back about it. Y'all could have said it way differently. Yes, I'm still in my feelings about it. I'm gonna be in my feelings about it. It is what it is.
I'm sorry that we were poking you guys. We shouldn't be poking you when you're down.
I hate a backtracking ass bitch. I really do.
And immediately after that, we have Jackie's response to it, because it looks like she's being pretty upset about the fact that she came out reminding everybody that they should have been prepared. And I want to make about Jackie the same point that I made about Gigi. There is such a thing as timing. So I'm willing to give Gigi a pass because she is young, she is 21. But at the time of filming, I think Jackie was like 28, 29. It's really the late 20s. At that age, you should have learned the meaning of timing. And when somebody is expressing an insecurity that comes from the fact that you have to act live, not about what you prepared at home, but you have to act live, and the response to it is saying, oh, but you had to be prepared, it rubs people the wrong way. And saying this immediately before the queens have to go and probably being booted off of the show, it's an awful timing. And I expected a queen of her age to perfectly understand this. So that raises a couple of questions. We're going to see them later. So let's take a look at Jackie's response.
And I hope you all feel the exact same way that we feel that we're in the bottom when you all don't do just as well. Because when y'all fall, I hope that somebody tears y'all down just as much as Taurus. I'm sorry.
For what I said and the way I said it, that means nothing to you. You're like,
Oh,
well,
no.
then screw you. I hope you fall in the next challenge.
So as you've seen, the atmosphere is really heated between the two of them. Of course, the edit is trying during the whole episode to remind us of this thing. I even found a confessional. It was like a 2-second confessional with Jackie reacting to Widow that could have been taken really from anywhere. But it was, how can I say? It was put right in that moment, as if she was reacting like annoyed by whatever Widow was doing. But the point is, she doesn't even speak a word. It's in this clip. I'm going to show you, but it's there. I mean, it's pretty clear what they are trying to do, and it's pretty clear who they are telling us that is going to lose this conflict. Because remember, the villain always loses the conflict at some point. The villain never wins. And maybe I shouldn't have said that. I should have gone to the speculations before, but it's something that I already told you last stream. So it's not really a kind of speculation spoilerish thing. But the point is that throughout the whole episode, not only we are reminded of this conflict, we are also reminded the Widow is a villain, to the point that even when she shows that she has a scar on her knee, she's followed by these shady noises. She's basically followed by the shady noises for the whole episode. So I put most of them in there, and let's just take a look.
Buckle up, bitches.
I'm nervous this is gonna be some intricate dancing.
Jackie, karma's a bitch, ain't it? Some of you hoes are in trouble. I got my first choice. Let's give the fucking singer the lead role at the beginning, which means the rest of us non-singing bitches gotta follow that shit. I don't know if Jackie actually knows like a virgin. It's Brittany and Christina.
A line, right? It should be here, and we should be to the front. Let's try this. Let's see it, let's see it. Here we go. What?
Fan choreography on the ground, going down to one knee. I'm gonna just bleed all over the place and we're gonna just make it do what it does.
So, I'll let you be the judge of that, but I can tell you already what I think. They have been building the, they've been putting down the foundation for Widow's villain-headed for a very, very long time. This has been going on since episode 1. And I'm not saying she's a saint. I'm not saying you should root for her. I'm not saying her looks are stunning or whatever. I don't care about all of that. What I care is seeing someone bombarded with shady noises. What I care is seeing someone reacting like a complete bitch when in reality she was reacting to something else. What I care is seeing people travel in time to seemingly insult somebody else when there is really not that much going on. This is what I care about, and this is what I would like you to think of, because you do not necessarily have to like someone or be a follower of someone to realize the objective fact that the edit is making them look worse, much worse than who they are. And I think we should start a little bit to call out this kind of things, because this is not the same case as Brita. What happened with Brita is that she put everything there and the edit just made it worse. What's happening with Widow is that they are, with the edit, they are putting there 90% of her villain edit. So it's really a different thing, and I would like people to recognize this a little bit, because you see the comments around, you know how they are referring to her, and it's just not it's unwarranted. It's how can I say, it's just not fair. Okay, I understand they all signed a contract, they all knew what was coming, they all knew what they were up to. But now that they are there, it's our turn to simply enjoy this thing and not buy into it too much. Because as you see, 90% of it is a work of editing. And of the 10% that's left, well, who knows? Is it really them? Is it them trying to be somebody else on television? I don't know. I cannot say. What I can tell you is that I would like to sit for 1 hour and believe that everything that is going on is real and have a fun time. And I am not really having it, especially in this episode. Now, there are other things that I would like to talk about this episode. I'll go quickly over them and then we go directly to speculation. So, Jamal is back. Finally, Jamal is back. I really like this guy. I like the way he relates to the queen. To the queens, he seems to be extremely professional and concentrated on the work, concentrating on what the queen can do, what the queen cannot do, how to give them a proper feedback that will actually help her doing whatever they want to do. I like him. I enjoy him. He's very professional, and I'm happy that we have him and we don't have Todrick, because I have this choreographer, so I hope that we get to see a little bit more of this guy, because he's really enjoyable on screen and good looking. So let's go on to the musical. I don't know who wrote this. I don't know, but it was so awful. My God, it was so awful. And when this show came up with the music, of course, I'm talking about the music. I absolutely didn't like the music. I cannot stop thinking about the first musical. It was written so well. it was funny. It had a message behind it. The queens were allowed to sing without autotune. Stop auto-tuning them. I understand that you have narrative reasons to try to make everyone look goodish, but it just draws me out. Let them sing, okay? Let the ones who know how to sing shine, for better or worse. Just let them do them and write them some good music to go under it. I mean, we all know what Lucian Piani did, okay? We all know what he said, and I am not making no excuse for that. He looks like an idiot, okay? But at least he was an idiot who could write music. Now, how much are they selling this show, okay? How much? What is it? 150, 200, 250 millions? What's the selling value for this show? Can't you pay someone to write good music, good lyrics, something that uplifts the spirit a little bit? I'm not against the campiness of it all, but you can do better than this. We deserve a little bit better than this. This looks like it was put together in 5 minutes and said, okay, good, fantastic, we have it. Move on. That's all. I didn't like it. I didn't enjoy it, and I don't condone it. Now let's move on to the critiques. We all know who won this challenge, but for some reason they are going to push Gigi no matter what. And I can quote you at least half a dozen of episodes in which extremely simple outfits were read to filth, and RuPaul comes out and said, oh yes, but she sold it. She sold it. It was amazing. Gigi sold it. She didn't sell anything. She did the runway. She's your hero, and you want to repeat again and again and again that she has to win at any cost. And I am sorry that Gigi is getting a lot of shit because people cannot tell a difference between the character on television and the real person that is at home. But what I'm judging is the edit and the character in television, and it's just too much. What was the problem with giving Jen a win that was well deserved? She danced good, she sang good, her runway was really good. So what was the problem with it? But it is how it is, and we are getting this season in which Gigi is not free to go to the top on her own. Because this is the problem with it. You are making her look as if she needs the push to get to the top, and she doesn't need it. She is young, she is talented, she is versatile. She doesn't need it. The more they push in that direction, the more they're pushing us, the viewers, away. So that's it. That's the problem that I'm having. And another thing that I noticed is that Brita should have been in the bottom. We know why she should have been in the bottom. Her storyline was over. But did she really belong there? Because, when I look at Jackie's performance, I think that at least she should have been in the bottom. So if you really have to give Brita the chop, at least, don't drag Heidi in it. Maybe she was not the best, but still, Jackie completely bombed this thing. The dancing was stiff. The singing was, I could probably sing worse than that, but I'm not in a TV show competition. So it is how it is, but we're going to take all of this into account. Now, I have a little bit of a problem here because my chat got disconnected. So I don't even know if the stream is still live or if I'm basically talking to myself, which is horrible. So if you can please wait just a second, I'm going to open a new window, see if I can solve this madness. Okay, and that was my voice coming out from. Okay, it's still live. Perfect. Thank you. I'll be keeping this window open so at least I can see the comments, because otherwise I'm completely at a loss. Come on. Come on, don't freeze. Okay. And it's freezing. Damn. Damn. Okay. Okay, I think we got it. Good. So let's go on. So I talked about Jackie a little bit, and Jackie is going to be the subject of the next episode of The Chop. You have to understand one thing about Jackie. As you know, there is two of us doing this show, even though I'm the only one talking to you, but there is two of us, and we have very discordant opinion about what's going on with Jackie. I believe that I am the one who is in the wrong because I have some personal things. But basically the point of what's going on with Jackie is that she seems to be the prime example of the queen that is working with the production. I don't know if you know this, but queens have come out over time saying that production asked them to do this, production asked them to ask this. It's been a common theme over the years. For example, there was Detox who came out and said, well, I was asked by production to help Jinx with her makeup. And Jinx Monsoon confirmed that this happened. And then there was another one who came out with something similar. Who was it? Oh my god, I get this lapses. Gia Gunn. Gia came out saying that the production asked her to poke the other queens a little bit, asked her, so how do you feel about this? So how do you feel about that? Did you really think you did good? Of course, these are examples that I'm making, but you get the gist of it. And what I find that has happened with Jackie is that time after time after time after time again, when something it's going to explode, she had put a little bit in there. She stirred the pot a little bit, and I saw this happen at least a dozen times. So I didn't really have time to prepare all these clips and discuss them right now. That's why we're going to have a new episode of The Chop and really discuss it. And you can make up your own mind about it. So is she being shady, or is she working with the production to stir the pot a little bit? I don't know. What I'm going to do is to present you with everything that I could find with this, and then you can decide on your own. Because it's really curious. It's really curious. And might I also remind you that independently of the fact that you might like or dislike Jackie, she seems to be extremely smart. She has a way of wording. She has a way of deciding her timing that tells you everything but that she is a stupid person. I think she's extremely smart, and I've seen signs of it. And by that I mean conversations in which you see her mouthing every word. So you know that editing has nothing to do with that. So I'm kind of curious to see what your response will be about it, and see if we have the same kind of 50-50 divisions that we are having between us. So we are going to talk about that. I hope that the episode will be out on Friday. On Tuesday, not this Tuesday. This Tuesday we have When Fans Go Too Far, the Tuesday after. So that at least we have like 3-4 days before the new episode comes out. Now that we are done with that, let's move on to the speculations. As usual, if you don't want any possible spoiler, thank you for watching, thank you for being here. Give us a thumb up, that really helps. Especially now that the algorithm is basically taking the chop and throwing it in the trash. So it helps a little bit. Share the video if you liked it, and I'll see you next time. Now, for those of you that are still here, this is the confessional chart for this episode. Now, if you have any more doubt that Widow is the villain, well, I hope this clarifies it once and for all. Now, the way that we score these confessionals are not strictly connected to what the queen is exactly saying, because it's really rare to find the queen who is talking shit about someone or that is saying something positive about someone. What we look at are everything that is going around the confessional itself. So the background music that there is, the context, what were the queens talking about, who was shown by the production, by the editing, to have the upper hand, and how the confessional relates to that. So we try to take all of this into consideration to try to infer what was the original intention of the editors when they put that confessional there. How do they want us to perceive her? In a positive or a negative way? And I'm telling you this because we had, for example, there was an episode with Jen when she was saying something that really felt like just a neutral feedback, but the way it was framed told you the whole story. That was a negative confessional. We had the same going on with Jada. So if you're wondering where this chart comes out, that's how we get it out. So Guido is the first thing that I want you to notice. The second thing that I want you to notice is Jen's narration confessionals. They are almost triple than anybody else. She has double in connection to Guido. That's because Guido was basically the star of the episode. She emerged finally, taking his rightful place as the villain. But Jen is the narrator of the season. So who is going on next episode? Let's go by exclusion, okay? Because the point is that I don't know. I don't have a prediction for you this time, but I have a couple of interesting things that you can take note of, and you can try to decide for yourself who do you think has the best chance to go home next episode. So we know that Gigi is not going anywhere. We know that Gigi is basically, can I say it, the winner of the season. Is there any more doubt? I mean, but let's say she is in the top 4. Let's stick it at that. Who else is in the top 4? Well, Jada is in the top 4. I don't want to talk too much about this. I don't like to do this in this kind of setting, but I'll try to keep it brief and I'll try to keep it cute. Drag Race is on VH1. VH1 is owned by Viacom. It's a huge company and they want money. In this show, you need representation when you have the top 4, and you need a black person who is not portrayed as a villain. That's part of representation. So if you look back at any other season, since they moved to VH1, you always have the black professional person who is not a villain and is in the top 4 for representation. I don't like it. I don't think we should necessarily resort to having, our tiny spaces and put everyone in there because we need representation. I would prefer believing that this is a fair competition, but it is how it is. And we know how things are. So Jada is in the top 4. Who else is in the top 4? Well, if you remember from last episode, we caught the editors doing something very interesting to the Snatch Game. I'm going to show it to you. This was the chart that we discussed during the last stream. So what happened during Snatch Game? Well, we had a disqualified contestant whose answers were portrayed as a big success, and we have almost no reaction shots of her. We also know that the editors have been editing out the disqualified contestant as much as possible during the whole season. So when you look at this chart that tells you how many reaction shots they had and how much time they've been on screen reacting, look at Jackie's. She was reacting 17 times and she had 20 seconds of reaction times, almost 5 seconds more than Gigi. So it looks to me like they replaced the disqualified contestants' reactions with Jackie's. And that's a curious choice. A very, very curious choice. They could have put anybody else in there, but they chose Jackie. So if you want to rewatch this whole speculation about it, you can rewatch it. But the conclusion that I get to is that Jackie is going to be on the top 4. Probably she was not to be there to begin with, but I take this as confirmation that she is in the top 4. So when we go back to our confessional charts, now we know that Gigi is on the top, Jackie is on the top, Jada is on the top. We're left with 4 people. We have Guido, we have Heidi, we have Jen, and we have Crystal. Where are they going to score? Let's start with Guido for a moment, because this is the easiest one. Now, in this episode, finally, we have her villain edit. Finally, we have a storyline that opened completely between her and Jackie. How long have they been preparing this storyline? Well, from my perspective, it looks like they've been trying to do this from episode 1. That's when I first saw Guido portrayed in an unflattering manner. And then it went on in episode 5, and then it went on in episode 7. So this new narrative line just opened up. Who is she up against? She's up against Jackie. Jackie's in the top 4, sorry. And you know, this is Drag Race. Did you see what happened between Aiden and Brita? What do you think is going to happen between the two of them? So, is she going home next episode? I don't think so. You don't make that much background work. Is it called background work? You don't do that much work since episode 1, only to have this storyline open up in episode 7 and close in episode 8. So I cannot tell you for sure she's not going on next episode, but I can tell you that it's reasonable to assume that she's not going anywhere next episode. There are at least 4 or 5 more episodes of this. Do you really think that it's going to go on without a villain? One that they have been working to so long? So I don't think Guido is not going anywhere, but I can tell you she's going to go home at some point, and Jackie is going to send her home, because that is her storyline now. So we already know at this point that Guido is not going to reach the top 4. We are left with Heidi, Jen, and Crystal. One of them is going home next episode. One of them is going to end up in the top 4. And one of them will stop seemingly in 5th place. So, who is who? And this is what it's extremely difficult for me to crack, because I have no idea what they are doing with Heidi's edit. I've told it to you last episode. I'm telling it to you again. She has this very strange edit. She has a redemption edit. Then she has an underdog edit. Then she has an episode in which she is the narrator. I don't know what they're doing with her, but I can tell you the effects of it, the effects that this is having on my perception of Heidi, because she's portrayed in so many different ways that she looks to me like a real person, not like a character on television. And this, I think, really starts to explain why so many people are resonating with Heidi. Because when she is portrayed in such an heterogeneous manner, that she's really looking more like a person than a character on television, following a precise storyline with a precise story arc and so on. So maybe it's a good thing. It's surely a good thing for her, but it's a bad thing for me because I cannot really see where she's going to end up. So in order to try to crack this one a little bit, I created another chart in which we can actually see the confessionals for the whole season and see if we get a little bit of insight from it and try to understand exactly who is going where. So this is the chart for the whole season. Look at Heidi. She is towering everybody with 73 confessionals. It's the most that anybody else. It's almost 16 more confessional than Guido. And they are really putting her in the screen as often as they can. So I don't know if this is proof that she's not going home next episode, but at this point we are left with 3 possible queens: Heidi, Jen, and Crystal. whoever of them is going home next episode, it's going to be a gag. So I'm expecting the gag of the season is going to happen next episode. Heidi, as a kind of edit, I can see her go all the way to the top 4, as I can see her going home next episode, especially after she just lip synced. But I don't know. In regards to Jen, I can tell you for sure, I'm reasonably sure that she will never get to the top 4, because she is the narrator. And if you still add any other doubt that she is the narrator of the season, look at her total narrating confessionals. She has almost 5 minutes of it. The one who got closer to it is Jada with 3 minutes and 20 seconds. And I've been telling you this thing of the narrator for a long time, but have you noticed watching the episode that every time you see someone say something like, it's a new day in the workroom, or our challenge today is, it's always Jen. The vast majority of the times, it's always Jen. That's the purpose of the narrator. That's why the narrator is always, how can I say, portrayed in a kind of neutral manner, because he's supposed to be the compass for you during the episode. He's not supposed to be a really active character. He's supposed to be the one that, in a way, holds it together. And that's also the reason why the narrator never gets to the top, because he's been just a narrator. But usually the narrator stops really close to the top. And that is one reason why I couldn't really see Jen going home next episode. That's exactly because of that. The narrator usually scores a little bit higher than that. And I would be really surprised to see her going home next episode. And then we're left with Crystal. This is another edit that I don't understand. The only thing that I don't understand is that RuPaul looks like he wants to fuck her. That's the only thing that I do understand. I see that they are doing a lot of things with Crystal. She is getting a lot of sound effects. She is getting a very pleasing edit, in a way that I could see that if they didn't like Crystal, they could have very easily make her look like she couldn't do anything. It would have been so easy to do that from an editing perspective. I'm glad that they didn't do it, because she looks like a really sweet person. But we've seen it happen before. So, there's that. But the point with Crystal is that she's not really going anywhere. She did not explode. She was not the silent assassin that I thought she would. She didn't win anything. But she wasn't also, awful. She did meh. She's just not really good for Drag Race. She's one of those queens that I think is going to score really well in real life, but it's just not made for reality TV. It looks like the format, it's not really bringing out, for some reason, what she has to offer. So for this reason, I can see her going home next episode. So, what is the final prediction? The final prediction is that I don't have it. I am sorry. I really went back and forth. What is there with this queen? What is there with this other queen? The only thing that I managed to do was to realize that it's really unlikely that Widow is going home. I think she's going home pretty soon, reasonably soon. But she is not. She has an open storyline. When her storyline starts to close, we get a little bit of drama, a little bit of gagging with her. She will be allowed to go home, but not next episode. It's too soon. They need a little bit more. They built her up so much that we need a little bit more. What we're left is with Heidi, Jen, and Crystal, and the only thing that we know is that probably Jen will not reach the top. The other contestant that will be in the top 4 will be either Crystal or Heidi. And between the 3 of them, I don't know who is going home next episode. So once we know who goes home next episode, we have basically finally locked down how everyone is going to score during the race. Because one of the 3 of them is going to go down. So if Heidi goes down, then we know that Crystal is in the top 4 and Jen stops before. And based off what happened to Widow's storyline in next episode, we can see if Jen is going before Widow or after Widow. Then if Jen goes home, then we are left with the biggest question mark. Because both Crystal and Heidi could be in the top 4. So we will have to reason a little bit about that. And if Crystal goes home, then we know that Heidi is in the top 4. And basically it's between Jen and Widow again, like we said before. So we are going to see what happens. Okay? Now, where do we go? Let's go to the chill zone and let's read some comments. From the other window, because my chat is, my God, YouTube, how can they let my chat disconnect and not put a button that says reconnect the chat? Because if I refresh the window, the stream stops. I just have to open a total different window with my stream going on and try to read whatever is coming from there. Well, it is how it is. Did it crash? A little bit. Can I scroll? Thank you. Oh my God. Okay. So, we shot Live 8 on day 1. Hey, hello. Andrea Trepanier says hello. Celestial Pearl, you forgot me. Believe me, tonight I'm going to forget a lot of things. The problem is I'm going to realize it only tomorrow. Velho765, hello, long-time viewer, first-time commenter. Welcome. Welcome. I hope this stream didn't scare you so much. I'm usually a tiny bit more professional than this, but I'm working on it. It's a learning curve, so we'll see where we go with there. Silva D'Amico says, "I happy hister, excited for the stream. I hope it lived up to the expectation." Mrs. G says, "Hi." Amateur Season says, "I'm having a great time in quarantine." Well, I hope everybody is having a great time in quarantine. I'm starting to feel the toll of it. I'm starting to grow a tiny bit tired of it. But, you know, at least we are keeping each other's company. That's going somewhere. Amateur Season, I would seriously love to sign up for your Patreon, but I have no money. It's no problem. It's no problem. Okay? The premise is there. If it happens, I appreciate it. But it's if you can, you know, if you have it standing there, that's all. Melanie Luz Connor says, "Happy Easter, everyone." Mrs. G says, "It comes across insincere." I don't know what you were referring to. Velho765 says, "When the season started with promo interview, I thought Brita was going to be the warm motherly figure." Oh, you were wrong with that one. My God. Like Asia O'Hara or Nina West. And damn, I really do think she had potential for that. Well, the problem with Brita is that she misunderstood the assignment. You go to Drag Race, you are basically taking a gamble. It might pay off, it might not pay off. But if you lose the gamble, there is really no point in getting angry about it, because you knew when you started that it was a gamble to begin with. So you can win a lot from it, but you can also lose a lot from it. So I would have expected her to contain herself a little bit better. You know, at that age, you are supposed to have learned that, because you know people react the way they react, and if you don't try to contain yourself a little bit, the editors are just going to run with it. Amateur Season says, "The editors get so much flack. I think everyone has to realize that the editors have to make an hour of TV show for us to watch and criticize. Yes, that's their job. That's their job. That's exactly what they are supposed to be doing. Then we can discuss about the fact that maybe there could be a better way to do it and a worse way to do it. And we can open a discussion and discuss just about that. This is basically exactly the whole point of doing the job. The fact that since the move to VH1, the edit became so forced, you know, to the point that it really takes you out of the whole thing. So this is the whole point. But that is their job. They're doing exactly what they're paid to do. Melanie Luz Connor says, "We love you, Aiden. Liza Minnelli lies." Well, you know, I've said already what I think about Aiden when I did the episode 3. Was it the episode 3? Yes, it was the episode 3 of the Chop. So I think they puppeteered him around a little bit, based on the fact that he has much less experience than anybody else and could be much more naive than anybody else. Because at the end of the day, as Amateur Season said before, the producers have to do a show and the editors have to make it convincing. So, we'll see what she has. We'll see what she has. Jade Vasiliev, if I'm pronouncing Vasiliev, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly. Other people couldn't have freakouts. It's so stressful, and they decided not to show. Artists are emotional, yeah. Crazy that you predict ED. That though. ED? I probably should start being able to read comments while I speak, because I'm losing these things. Celestial Perth says, we get it, Brita, you're from New York. Well, with Brita, I thought that she said it a lot during one day. And then they split the whole thing. I'm from New York, I'm from New York, I'm from New York for many different episodes, because I cannot really imagine her being obsessed with this. I'm from New York, I'm from New York. That's how it looked to me. Diogo Moreu says, Heidi is the miscongeniality of the season, and that's a fact. We'll see. We'll have to see. We have to see, because miscongeniality is actually voted by the other queens. So whatever we are missing, because the edit didn't really show it, or we simply didn't get it from the show, we're going to see when the queen actually elect their miscongeniality. So I think Heidi has a good chance. I think also Jen has a very good chance. She was really neutral and helpful. And the fact that she basically was robbed during this episode and still managed it with class, I think for that, and only for that, she has a pretty good shot. And let's not forget about Rock. Rock was really sweet on the race, so we'll have to see about that. And Crystal too, if she's not in the top 4. So we'll have to wait and see. Diamond Gypsy says, I appreciate Widow for being real. That's how it comes out to me as well. She comes out really down to earth. I'm going to see it, I'm going to call it, but as you can see, it's not really paying out in the show. She is getting the worst end of the deal. Let's say it like that. Let's go on. Amateur Season appreciates Widow's look. She says they're being underrated. I love her. Vitriol Vic says her looks are cheap and tacky. Sorry. Okay. I'll let you all sort it out. Because, as you know, it bears repeating and it bears repeating and it bears repeating. They didn't build, except for the episode in which there was the sewing challenge, the ball looks, so that you can understand what I'm talking about. Except for that, whatever they're wearing, they bought it in advance. They get a list of the things that they have to prepare. So at that point, it becomes a matter of money. It becomes a matter who has the money to buy the more looks. And you might say it's a matter of style too. And I can respond, well, if you have enough money, you can pay a stylist. And he will choose the right outfit for you. So it becomes really difficult to tell who sew her outfit, and came up with the old concept, and who simply threw a lot of money at it and came out with something good. It's really difficult. That's why I never criticize. I try at least to never criticize what they come up with on the runway, because it's kind of unfair. It's also not good to put so much attention on the runway, because it puts an extreme amount of expectation to all the new queens that have to that auditioned for the race and got on. Because it's all outfit, ask for money, ask for help, get a loan, because it's all outfit. You know, I would like the show to go a little bit less about all these outfits. It's incredible. This year they had to prepare so many outfits. I have no idea of the amount of money that they spent for all of that. But you know, a little less outfits, a little more sewing, and a little bit more of challenges that can show us their talents, you know, and we can focus a tiny bit more on that. Alicia says, good evening, sweethearts. As you noticed, I learned to pronounce your name. Vitor Vic says, Widow looks a bit like Vivacious. Vivacious is iconic. Don't be so vitriolic. Braxton says, I wish we could just celebrate people, not Widow specifically, just in general, for entertaining us when they're shady and not call them rude or attack them. It makes the show have no hedge. Sorry, I went with a mouthful on that. I completely agree. You know what I would like? I would like the beginning of the show with a huge disclaimer saying this show is dramatized. Whatever you're going to see, it's for your entertainment and your entertainment only. Please remind yourself that the queens in real life are not the same that you see in the screen. That is what I would love, you know? And then at the end of the season, they could come out and do interview and talk with the queen and say, oh, okay, so Widow, we portrayed you like a complete bitch. What did you think about it? Was it credible? Was it not credible? Did you like it? Was it fun? Was it not fun? You know, and tear down this illusion that it's real just because the show belongs to a category called reality. It's, you know, I would like that. I would love that. But I don't think they're going to do it for one simple reason. In show business, if something works, you don't change it. You keep doing it until you don't get any more money from it. Then you start changing it. Okay, let's go on with the other comments. I'll try to scroll a little bit faster because there's a lot of them. And I thank you all for coming to the stream, but it's becoming a tiny bit difficult for me to keep track of all of this. Carissa Mohammed says, Jamal is a skinny legend. I completely agree with you on that. Vitriol Vic, Widow's Frozen was terrible. It was awful. So true. Oh my god. You should change your name to Vitriolic. That's you know, that's the little bit more. Diogo Moreu says, no other Rusical can beat Shade the Rusical. Yeah, that was incredible. That was beautiful. It was beautifully written, beautifully acted. We had two incredible singers, at least from a Drag Race standard, okay? Because, you know, there are still such a thing like classical singers who have a range that it's beyond human. But for, you know, for the standard of Drag Race, Adore and Courtney are exactly at the top. It was beautiful. Sometimes I rewatch it just for that. It was so good, so well done, and the message behind it was so thoughtful, you know? You can see that there is really something, there was really someone behind it who really thought about it, who really put it together. This one seems like they spent 5 minutes and said, okay, it's done. It's done. These are the lyrics. Let's go with it. Whatever. Alicia says, I wish there was a Dragula type show that shows a diverse number of styles and people. We need more drag shows. If RuPaul's Drag Race have proven anything, is that drag have become a kind of heart that belongs to everyone and everywhere. We just need more reality TV. And even not necessarily reality TV. It can be any sort of TV, but we need a little bit more of drag around. You know, we cannot just have Drag Race and Dragula and call it a day. The market is there, so I hope that when this whole pandemic thing goes away, they will start producing a little bit more, you know? Because it's also a matter of competition. If a little bit of competition starts arising, then there is a good chance that all these things that are not really going well with Drag Race, they will improve again. Because finally they have someone to compete. I mean, these are basic principle and I don't know the word. Fantastic. But you know what I mean by that, when you have different entities competing with each other's and then quality is maximized because they are competing. I'm just losing the word. I don't know it. Diego Moreo says, in the beginning, I was rooting so much to Jada for winning the season. I'm still rooting for her. I know they will never crown her. It will never happen. But at least I'm happy that she's getting some exposure. She's really a beautiful queen, and it looks like behind that there is a mature person. So I hope the best for her. Alethea says, I love Dragula, but that's not everyone's style, and I love to have, a show that presents kings, queens, all between, and more. I completely agree with it. We need more of this. Let's stop this thing of gatekeeping that, drag is only a thing that biological men can do, and blah, 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 and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. Drag is art, and everybody can do whatever the hell they want with it. If you are entertaining, I really couldn't care less what's between your legs. Amateur Season says, I love Priscilla Chambers and Luciana Purchase from Dragula. Kylie Wilson, I was surprised that Jen didn't win, but Gigi was still good. Gigi was good, but the outfit was not on par, not even with herself. Not even with herself. I understand the point behind it. I understand it. But when you compare her to what everybody else was wearing, it was just too simple. And the problem of consistency. Because over the years in the show, we had this critique time and time and time and time and time again. People reacting, judges reacting, saying, oh, this is too simple, this is too simple, this is too simple, this is too simple. Then Gigi comes along and magically it's not too simple. So, that is the point with it. And it's not a problem with Gigi. It's a problem with the judges. So let's try to focus our point to the ones who really, to whom it really belongs. Okay? Velho765 says, Jen being constantly high but not winning a challenge remind me of Chanel on season 1 and Pandora Box on season 2. So I guess Jen will be on All Stars and either go home first or be third. I don't know what's going to happen with Jen. What I can tell you is that she's really reacting to this whole thing like a lady. She is the prime example of how you should react to the riggery of the show, if we want to call it like that. That's exactly how you should react. You're there to make a show. Don't get angry about it. It's an opportunity. It can pay off. It cannot pay off. Just don't give a bad look when you're there. That's the most important thing. Beware of the villain edit. Let's go on. What do we have? Mrs. G says, Jackie deserved the bottom. Yeah, I don't really understand it. I'm pretty sure that when the next episode comes out and we really see what's going on with Heidi, then we can really understand why she was the one that was put in the bottom. Because it makes no sense, We all know it was Brita's turn to go home. With a storyline that is finished, she has to go home. But did you really have to put Heidi there? Well, it's fun talking about it, okay? Let's not get too hangry about it. Kylie Wilson said, I can hear you. Oh, this is when the chat went. This is when the chat went away. I don't know if it's a problem with YouTube or if it's a problem with the computer. I can tell you, it's definitely time to give it a nice format, a new installation, and do a little bit of backup. My voice is going away. Fantastic. Tiana Miladinovic? That's... oh my god. I don't know how other people do this. I'm sorry. Well, she says, when Rue said that Jen is safe, my heart stopped. Like how? I'll tell you like how, because it's in the script. That's how. That's how. I don't know. They're not really even making an effort anymore to make it look credible. I know that you have a lot of queens outside saying, "Oh, it's fake, it's fake, it's fake, it's fake, it's fake." Yes, make me believe, please. I will never stop saying it. Make me believe. Entertain me. Diogo Morreu says, I want Michelle Visage Drag Race to see Bio Queens and Drag Kings. That would be an interesting experiment. From my point of view, I would like Bianca's Drag Race, because can you imagine Bianca as a judge? I mean, there is never enough Bianca Del Rio in the world. There's simply not ever enough of her. Let's go on. Amateur Season says, Jen is our mediocre queen of the season. Well, I wouldn't use the term mediocre, because that has a very specific meaning. I would say she is presented as middle of the pack. That I think it's more appropriate. Jade Vasilev says, the Michelle Visage look thing and Michelle judging her own looks was so narcissistic. Oh my god. Stop trying to make Michelle happen. It's not gonna happen. Well, you know, RuPaul made Michelle happen. She happened, and then she stopped happening. And then RuPaul made her happen. So good for her. Okay, she has a job. She's being paid well. She's working really hard. For a lot of time, for the longest time, she went on tour with the queens. When Ru went to retire to a ranch and do whatever it is, the thing that she's doing, fracking. She went on tour with them. There are a lot of video out there with Michelle Visage on the bus with the other queens. So she's hustling. She's doing her job. She's not just sitting there and be beautiful. Kylie Wilson said, I would like to try being a bio queen, but I hear they get a lot of hate. A lot of things in life will get other people upset. My suggestion to you is, if the other people have a point, take it as a feedback, dissect the feedback from the emotional hate and then tell them to fuck off. Do your thing. And if it gives you pleasure, then good for you. And if you get better at it, even better. Alethea says, this is just Ru Visage tastes, expectations and their storylines that are forced on people. Some love it, others don't. But it's not really about the quality of drag when it's so limited. Well, it's a TV show. We are forgetting this. It's the most prominent TV show with drag artists, but it's still a TV show. So if what you're interested is more in the craftiness, okay, that is going on, I suggest to you to watch Drag Race Thailand with subtitles, of course, but it would be immensely pleasurable to watch, or just rewatch season 2 of Drag Race, season 2 and season 3, when they actually work on things. They actually have to create things, even if it's just a script for a challenge, you can really see them put their art into it, because most recently the only thing that we're getting is songs that are already written, plays that are already written, clothes that they've been told to buy. It's the craftiness seems to have gone a little bit, well, more than a little bit lost. Let's go on. What else do we have? Amateur Season says, I am an aspiring drag queen. That's cute. That's cute. Don't just be aspiring, okay? Do something about it. Even in your room. Who cares? Who cares? If you're fun with it, who cares? D. Gonzalez says, Jackie should have been in the bottom. Gigi is overrated and Jen deserved to win the challenge, and she's constantly slept on. Okay, this is the first time I see your comment and you spilled all the tea all together. But wording makes a lot of difference. When you say it like this, it looks like you are throwing shade on everybody else. I get your point. I agree with your point. I would just change the wording a little bit, because wording can really make the difference between making someone upset and making someone share his opinion with you. Okay? Jade Vasiliev says, so many moments I thought were shady, but no dramatic music in the background or shady noises. Yes, you see the magic of editing? That's the magic of editing. And I'm going to show you some of those in the next episode of the shop when we talk about Jackie. Diego Moreo says Dragula is better than Drag Race, and that is a fact. Well, it depends. It's point of view. If we are talking about how much money they make, then I beg to disagree with you. If we're talking from the intrusiveness of the editing, then yes, Dragula is better than Drag Race. But I noticed something on Dragula, and I think we should take notice of that. In the last season, when they did the singing challenge, they did this whole. They divided the queens in two groups, and then they edited them completely mixed up. You had a little bit of the first group, then a little bit of the second group, then a little bit of the first, then a little bit of the second. I didn't understand anything. By the end of it, they went to judging, and I had no idea because it was so confused. So they're getting there with the edit, and I don't know if that has something to do with the fact that the show was picked up by a big company, but I guess it is. So I don't know. I'd like to see how it plays out. What I can tell you is that they are definitely make an effort to create a show that it's inclusive without making you feel that a spot was reserved for everybody so that you could say that you are inclusive, in a more natural manner. Like say, okay, we don't care. You are a bio queen? Are you talented? Yes, come on. Are you a drag queen? Are you talented? Yes, come on. Who cares? Who cares? That's not the point. And that's what I appreciated. Callie Wilson said Nikki should be brought back for All Stars. Oh, I missed that for all the All Stars. I read it, but my brain didn't compute it. I don't know about that. I think that a lot of queens make the mistake of coming on All Stars immediately after their season. And I understand the point because they are getting a chance to be on the show again. But you also have to understand that one of the biggest game changer in All Stars was what I call the Tatiana effect. A completely forgotten queen who had an exponential amount of growth that came back for All Stars and basically exploded. Her career completely exploded. So I think when these options comes along, these queens should really stop, take a moment and think, okay, do I have enough grow to wow everybody about it? Because that should really be what makes the difference between saying, yes, I'm coming, no, I'm not coming. So if she does come on All Stars, I hope that she has enough growth to back it up. Otherwise, people are going to discount her, and that's the worst thing that can happen when you are given such an opportunity. Let's go on. D. Gonzalez says RuPaul's Drag Race needs to be like American Idol and let the fans vote, because Ru is making big mistakes, or just have a new show with queens to compete because RuPaul's judgment is whack. Well, I've seen a lot of great show just completely destroyed by the fact that people were voting. Might I remind you, if people were voting, Bianca Del Rio would have never won season 6. Pearl would have won season 7. Bob wouldn't have won season 8. And I can go along with many other examples. I think the fact that you are a good watcher doesn't mean that you are a good judge. So if I have to choose between the two things, I will take whatever is going on right now over to the popular vote. Because you see, I mean, take a moment to think. You had Brita getting treated like shit online. Okay, you have people treating Gigi like shit because the edit was in her favor, as if she had anything to do with it. You had people sending death threats to Jasmine Masters. This is, you know, we are talking about big numbers. When you talk about such big numbers, you know, this a lot of people who should not be included, for some reason they are included, and they behave the way they behave, and they have particular opinions, and most of the times they are really vocal with their opinions, and they manage to create an avalanche effect with it. So I don't know about that. I'm dubious about it. Alethea says Gigi will win. Widow maybe 6th or 5th. Yeah, I believe so as well. 6th or 5th. Once we have to take a look at her storyline. Okay, if she flowers completely next episode, then we know she's going on the episode after. If we see the dynamic between her and Jackie held back in the next episode, then we know it's the episode after that. D. Gonzalez says, I'm not a fan of Gigi. Of course she's gonna win. They planned it from the get-go. Yes, that's, you know, it's a law of big numbers. This show is a show that changed a lot over time, and one of the main things that changed is the audience that they are aimed at. They went from the average gay man from 20, 25 years old until 30 years old to everybody from 10 years old to 20 years old. So when this is the people you're aiming at, you want them to root for someone that they can see themselves into. And that's what the purpose of having what I call the young and talented edit. That's exactly that purpose. It's that queen that, for better or worse, is there so that the audience can see themselves in them. And of course, it's not Gigi's fault, like it was not Aiden's fault, that she was given a free pass over and over and over again. But, you know, people are people. They don't stop thinking for a moment. And they make us look all like idiots in the end. Jade Vasilev says, do you think the edit would seem less fake and more subtle if qualified candidate was still a part, if disqualified candidate was still a part of the story? The edit seems way more forced and rushed than before. This is a very good question. A very good question, because whatever they are doing with the show to edit out the disqualified contestant is something that is rushed. Let's not forget that this show takes 6 months for editing. Anywhere between 5 to 6 months. It's a lot of time. To suddenly take the whole season and re-edit it completely in a matter of 2 or 3 weeks is going to be a whack job, no matter how you put it. What I think they did is that they maintained all their storylines, and they simply filled the space with something that would be as less intrusive as possible to the show. For example, let's assume that you had 10 confessionals from the disqualified contestant. You need to fill it up. Okay, so you have your confessional chart for the episode and try to distribute these 10 confessionals in a way that it's proportional to the chart that you have already. So for example, if you have one person that is the complete narrator of the episode and she has double the amount of everybody else, then of this 10, you give 3 to that person, possibly with the same tone of voice. So what I want to come out to is that for the kind of editing that they had to do and the kind of time that they had, I don't think there was really any chance to make the show take a different route. You know, they just added up on whatever they already had there. So no, I don't think the edit would have been much different from what we are seeing. Of course, the disqualified contestant would be extremely different, because we know from what we are seeing, we know from the leaks, that at this point she was supposed to be in the top 4. And whoever is in the top 4 is given something called like character development. They are given emotional moments. Can you imagine a person that now it's coming out that has taken advantage of more than 40 people for months, years? Can you imagine a person like that being portrayed in an emotional way? It would be the end of the show. It would be the end of the show, because if you follow what's going on around, you know that sooner or later these charges will be taken to court, and WoW and VH1 would be the one who portrayed this person as in an emotional and understanding way, which is not to say that we cannot do that, but that's the last thing that you should do. The first thing that you should do is to take complete charge of what happened, how, pay your price, and then we can get close up and emotional. That's why I think they took action so quickly and so drastically. Alethea says, for Gigi at least her work is on the level. On the level? I think you missed something. You mean on par. Maybe you mean on par. Yes, even more than on par. I like what she's doing, but we should also say I don't have a great sense of style. So I shouldn't be the one that you can say, oh, do you think her outfits are good? I can tell you they are visually pleasing to me. But if we're talking about fashion, well, I can try, but, you know. Syria Jenkins says, I'm still getting tired of all the flip-flopping of showing redacted and not showing them. Well, it could be worse. I understand. I completely understand what you're saying, but it could be worse. It could be much worse. You know, I made a decision the moment she came out with the statement. I didn't even have a talk with my partner about it. I took the decision that we were going to cut it out. If it means photoshopping, if it means putting black box, whatever it is, it's done, it's over. But you know, nobody can come out clean on this situation. Everybody has something with it, because it is how it is. It is how it is. You know, when I put a black box there, I still get people insulting me in the comment saying that, oh, you're being childish, you're being this, you're being that. And I mean, people have opinions and I respect all of them, but we also have to respect some things called facts. Facts to which people have admitted to in a very, very subtle way. And that is smart, because you do not admit that there is something specifical, because that can be used in court against you. You admit you do something bad, but you don't say what. That is the smart thing to do. So, she is smart, all right. D. Gonzalez says, Heidi killed that Madonna challenge, but the runway and Madonna challenge win should have went to Jen. Yeah, it would have been nice, you know. Nobody would have complained. Gigi would still be the front runner. Jen would still go home as the narrator that never reaches the top. But, you know, it would have been nice. It would have been nice to see. It's becoming an overkill. Gonzalez says, I love Widow. Keeping it real since day one. You said it again. I read it. Alethea says, I really hope that the companies that Joey lied about sue him into the ground. Well, there's a lot to be done there, and I see none happening. Cinead Ward said, I don't want her to, but I feel like Jen's next to go. It's a possibility. She has a 33% possibility of going home from my point of view. But whoever is going on next episode, it's going to be a gag. It's going to be a gag. I cannot imagine. Statistically, I know that it's either her, Crystal, or Heidi. But emotionally, I'm not ready to see any one of the three of them go. Kylie Wilson said, the next week on Deg did her dirty with that crying montage. I don't know what that means. The next week on Deg. I don't know, I'm lost. Gonzalez says, you have to love Crystal so much. I mean, Elder Barge. Yeah, she's been lucky. She's been lucky that they are portraying her in such a flattering manner. It could be so much worse. Like, so much worse. MBR715 says, Gigi is just killing the challenges, but it's like RPDR is now like ANTM. Yeah, I agree with that. You know what I miss? I miss queens going out in drag during daytime, asking people to do crazy things. That I'm missing. But the next main challenge is going to be product placement. I love product placement. It's one of my favorite challenges. I love the sewing challenges, but product placement is one of the best. I mean, think about the perfume one. These are incredible challenges. Velho765 says, gag of the season, triple elimination. Read in Katya's voice. I'm not good with impressions. I'm picking all three of those lipsticks. Boom, finger snap, boom, finger snap, boom. Have they ever done a triple elimination? I mean, I don't think they have a schedule, right? I mean, we should know how many episodes are left, so we should reasonably see if there. But I don't think that's going to be even a double elimination at this point. Those happen really at the beginning of the show, when you have a lot of queens. MBR715 says, RuPaul is so thirsty for Crystal. Yeah, you said it better than I did. But remember, English is not my language. So you have to give me a little bit of a pass when I don't have, let's say, a good control over my wording. I'm trying my best, but it's getting late. I still had my half a bottle of Prosecco and it came out like that. Max Rollins says it could also be a double Shantae next episode. I don't know if that would work for the number of episodes, though. I don't know either. I try to stay as away from anything regarding the show because sometimes, even when you look at the plan for the network, when they are going to air something and not, they always put a descriptions, and in the past they gave spoilers for it. So I try to stay as much away from anything as I can, because if I get any spoilers, then I lose all the fun in doing this. And it's still fun to see storylines, how they evolve and so on, but for me the real fun is doing the prediction. And if I start getting spoilers for it, I would lose completely any passion, any drive in doing this. Tim Erkin Sari says, finally someone noticed that. Is totally thirsty for Crystal. My God. Do you want a hug? My God. Did I lose the chat again? Yes, I lost the chat again. Oh my God. I lost the chat. Where was I? Oh my God, I'm starting to hate YouTube. Well, fantastic. YouTube deleted my chat. So I'm sorry, I'm going to miss a lot of comments. I cannot really pick up where I was. Okay, okay. Why does YouTube this kind of things? Oh, here we go. Here we go. I remember this comment. Triple elimination in Katya's voice. I remember this. Okay, so we were here. Kylie Wilson said Crystal is a cinnamon roll and needs to be protected. Yes, yes, protected, not topped, RuPaul. That RPDL channel says RuPaul was living a fantasy when Crystal accepted to give her a hug. Oh my god. We were all thinking that. Stop pretend that we did not think that. We were all thinking that. And that's just how it is. D. Gonzalez says it was hysterical though. The lyrics alone were so clever. You're talking about the musical, the Rusical? This is I need to start reading comment in real time. Otherwise, I'm losing it. Sharpie the Edgehog says Jackie is 34, not 28. Okay, that's a bummer. That's a bummer. 34. Well, at that age, you definitely know what timing is. Now we can only speculate about the motivation behind it. Laura Facey Face says, did anyone think Widow should have been in the top last episode? Not really. Not really. She didn't do bad. I would have liked her to win something, to be, you know, to place a little bit more than safe. But win? I don't know. The PDR channel says Widow killed it. Did she kill it? I cannot recall for the love of me. I watched that challenge. I scored it. I drew my notes and then I completely forgot about it. So I might be missing a piece. Kylie Wilson says, I'm suffering in quarantine. We are all suffering in quarantine. I mean, D. Gonzalez says, Widow is extremely underrated. Jackie can go, bye-bye, she's too pretentious for me. Well, I don't know if pretentious, don't forget that we haven't had it. But, you know, I'm starting to like this attitude from Widow, you know, this attitude that it's on the side of, you know what, I don't care anymore. You know, we have this thing of pretending that we are all sisters and we are all growing together, and the hell, we've been here for 12 days and we are behaving like we've been together for 12 months because this is what the viewer is expecting from the show. And she's like, at this point, I don't care. You're going to provoke me, I'm going to respond to it. Because, you know, she kind of has a point. She kind of has a point. Timing is important. And most of all, let's not forget one thing. Widow and Heidi came out of the whole thing saying they had an emotional problem during Snatch Game. It's not that they didn't prepare themselves, but emotion got the best of them. And Jackie's response was completely invalidating their emotional status and cutting down the argument to the fact that they should have been prepared because everybody knows that the challenge is going to come. And what does that have to do with the fact that they feel anxious about it? It has nothing to do with it. She didn't even address it. She just ignored it. And that's something that can drive some kind of people mad. I don't like it when people do it with me, and I can completely understand Widow's reaction to it. Celestial Pearl says, watching all the chops. Thank you. If you like it, thank you. If it becomes annoying, turn it down. Don't forget, this whole thing with the chop is a learning curve. Nothing is perfect. Nothing is completely well done. If I could go back, I would change a ton of things. So sometimes I watch things back and think, oh my god, this is so boring, this is so annoying, or this was said so much in such a wrong way, you could have said it so much better. So yes, you want to go back, watch them, fantastic. If it starts getting boring, just close it. Who cares? Silva D'Amico says, don't you think that Crystal Zedit will end up like Naomi on season 8? Think she will start doing well, but in the top 4 she will be the one that we know won't win. It could be, but she needs a win. She needs a win. You know? Even Naomi, I don't remember that much from season 8, but I think by this point Naomi already won a challenge. So, but you also have to consider something. They are pushing Gigi so much that I wouldn't be surprised if in the top 4 we got one or two people who didn't win any challenge at all. I wouldn't be surprised of that. At this point, they cannot make it more obvious than this. D. Gonzalez says Jackie is boring. Well, that's your opinion. I find her to be very talented. Her Snatch Game was really entertaining. I liked it. Is she good TV? If that is what you mean by boring. Is she good TV? Well, not really. No, not really. Maybe she had something like a talk show or something when we can really see her brain in motion. That might be even more interesting. So we have to see about that. You know, when you look at them through the screen, through the show, you just get the tiniest little idea of who these people are or what they can do. So the show cannot really tell you who they are. What it can do is interest you in exploring these people once the show is over. So I would like to see what's coming out in the future. You know, we are in the situation in which we are, so we'll probably have to wait a lot for that, but I will definitely keep an eye on her. DRPDR channel says, I only enjoyed Jackie at the Snatch Game. That's where I enjoyed her the most. Dixie Rye, hey, it's nice to see you. It really is so very kind of you to go through and try to read everyone's comments. Well, it's also fun, you know, because you still have to understand. I am not experienced in doing this. I'm not good in live stream. I miss a lot of things that I want to say and then I don't say. Then I have my notes and then I forget to look at them. And going through the comments, I actually have a chance to address some of the things that I lost. So, you know, at this point, we're still a small group of people. This is still viable. I can still spend time reading comments. If at some point we'll start be 100, 200, 300 people, it's going to become impossible to do. So at least, you know, we get to do it. Since we get to do it, let's do it. Laura Facey Face says, this is a response. That she enjoyed Jackie in the Snatch Game. And she was so annoyed when she wasn't in the top, and even more annoyed when I realized putting her in the top wouldn't fit with the villain edit. Oh no, she was talking about something else. I missed that. I'm sorry, I missed that. Piero SB says, the Queen should vote based on what they and we saw on the show, not behind the scenes, because it wouldn't make sense to us. Well, that is debatable. You know, it's really difficult because when they are on the show, they judge on what they know as their experience. When they look through the screen, they can be presented with something completely different than what was going on. So putting the two things together, I think it's not even a pleasurable experience to do. You're trying to deny what you saw happening in order to take a version that came from the screen and make them make sense together. It's I don't know about that. I'm fine with them voting based on how they actually felt other people during filming. Piero SB says, for example, I get that many queens from the season love Brita. Imagine that she wins Miss C. That wouldn't make sense based on what we saw on the show. Oh, that would be a catastrophe. That would be a catastrophe. It would be, how is it called? a PR nightmare, because that would be, that would be the final confirmation that whatever is going on with the editing is complete BS. And would not be a good look. It would not be a good look. But I'm happy that they are supporting Brita, because I can understand it. I can understand it. We are humans after all, and some people just, once they're triggered, there's nothing left to be done. It's a pity, but producers have to make a show, not make Brita look good. They have to make a show. If you have to break eggs, you have to break eggs. Alicia said, Fifi had a great interview recently. I saw it. I don't remember what was the name of the channel. I saw it. I wanted to share it, and then I got lost in making the material for the video. What was it? Not decent exposure. It was something else. Well, but it's a guy that interviewed different queens, and it did an incredible job with Fifi. It really did her justice. And I'm happy that finally we get some people on board that are able to sit in front of the computer, be reasonable, actually put together a logic thing, put together not necessarily something that has to be a show, but at least something that challenges people to think about things. Not because that is educational or that is the right thing to do, but because that is the interesting thing to do. A lot of people do not realize that people change over time. We go on the screen and think, okay, you know what? I'm in quarantine. Let me rewatch season 4. Oh, look at Fifi. She is such a bitch. Yes, it's been 8 years. People change. People learn from experience. And, being confronted continuously with the fact that you did something 8 years before, in a way denies all the growth that you have done in those 8 years. So I appreciate this kind of content. I wish there were more people putting out this kind of content, because there are a lot of idiots in the fandoms, but there are also a lot of interesting people that can put 2 and 2 together. So I would prefer less sensationalism and more quality entertainment. Kylie Wilson, I'd love to have Bianca roast me. Yeah, well, isn't that anybody's dream? Jet Lewis, I think Jackie is getting the Miss Cracker edit. Yes, I can see the parallel. With it. But I think with this new storyline that is opening up with Widow, she's going to get a more personal storyline. A little bit more different from what Miss Cracker had. But I can see the similarities. I can see it. Ro TDQ said, I caught that cough cough fracking cough cough. Yes. Well, come on. Let's be honest, okay? Let's be honest. RuPaul loves money. That's the perception that I get of her. She loves it, and she's doing it. I mean, can I say that 100%? No, I cannot say that. But she left an interview and she said she was selling water, leasing soil for selling water, whatever it is. And the interviewer didn't pick up on that. But there is basically this, God, the words, this, let's call it association of people, okay, who are against fracking. So they track all the fracking that is going on in the U.S. They do things like Greenpeace, like Greenpeace does with whale hunting. They do the same thing with fracking. And so they track all of this, and they found out something like 200 mines in the soil that is supposed to belong to RuPaul. Because if you go to the public records and you ask to see, I think you have to go in person, but it's public data, and you ask to see, okay, what is that? Whose people does this soil belong to? They have to tell you it's in the public record. So they found them there, and it was incredible that it was the same timing in which they did that environmental mini challenge with the bees. I mean, come on. I find it hilarious. Dixie Rye said, that saddens me that people are considering Jen mediocre. There is nothing mediocre about her. I suggest watching some of her performances. I think what they meant was middle of the pack. I like to think that they said middle of the pack. Mediocre has totally, I'm not even American, but I know that mediocre means completely something different than middle of the pack. So I like to think that he said middle of the pack. Amateur Season said, I have loads of fun doing drag, but looking at Drag Race Queens, I realize I'm real amateur. You are supposed to be amateur. You are supposed to be. You are beginning. And whenever you begin with anything, you are supposed to be an amateur. Just have fun with it. You don't have to win anything. Have fun. If in 2, 3 weeks, 2 months, you keep having fun doing it, then keep doing it. Ask for feedback. If you still have fun doing it, then keep doing it. That's how it goes. That's how it goes. I have tons of hobbies, and a lot of them, I got tired of them after 2 or 3 months. And I stopped doing that. Some others stuck around and they kept doing them. So whatever you want to do, start with it as a hobby. If it sticks, it sticks. D. Gonzalez says, Jen is an underrated queen. She's gorgeous and so AWSM. I don't know what that means. She can dance, sing, act, sue. She rocks. She looks like a very versatile queen. I completely agree with that. Dixie Ray says, Michelle definitely worked hard on those tours. She wore so many hats they wouldn't have been able to make it without her. Well, yes, she really worked a lot. And many queens spoke out in her favor, saying that whatever we are seeing on Drag Race has nothing to do with the person that went on tour with them. She was helpful. She was with them 24 hours a day. She was with them on the bus. She didn't you see a lot of times that, we went on tour and then someone goes by plane, somebody has to go on the bus, then someone joins later. I have this image in my mind of Michelle Visage in the bus with all the other queens, and it looks like they're having a ton of fun, and RuPaul doesn't know what she's missing. Jet Lewis says, people say Jen is underrated, but people always forget about the gem that is Rock'em Sakura. Yes, Rock is interesting. I will agree with you with that. It's curious. And I've been looking a little bit more on her Instagram. Because whenever you find some queen... Sorry, Oh, no, it's fine. Whenever you find a queen that is particularly different, I'm immediately drawn to that queen. That's because that's how I am. When I see something different, when I see is a possibility. What I want to see from her, I see that she's unique. I want to see how she performs live. This is what I want to see. Because a lot of queens can be visually appealing and can be very sweet, having a sweet personality. But at the end of the day, what's going to pay your bills is your ability to perform. So I would like to see that and see where she goes with it. What else do we have? Kylie Wilson. I don't agree with public vote. You only need to look at the likes of AI and DWTS to see that the public have a bad taste too. Yes, I'm sorry. I'm not good with acronyms. Acronyms. But I agree with that. I agree. Jet Lewis, if there was a vote, Gigi would still win by a landslide. Oh yes. Oh yes. Reversed Bitch says double Shantae or double Shantae? Maybe. If Guido and Heidi lip sync, I can see a double Shantae. We have to see where they're going with the storylines. It could be, if depending on how many episodes they have left, it could still be that we have this double Shantae happening. I don't dare looking. So if any of you goes looking to the schedule that they have and wants to write me how many episodes are back, I would appreciate that, and we can see what's going to happen. But don't forget, what rules are the storyline. It's all about the storyline. Jet Lewis says, I think Guido would slightly outdo Heidi in a lip sync like that, but they would both slay for sure. Don't forget the edit. We never get to see the whole thing. We never get to see the whole thing. Sometimes you really have queens who do an amazing performance and they go home anyway because it's their turn to go home. But by the way they cut the lip sync, you can say, oh, she did so much better and she went home anyway. So, Okay. Alethea says Gigi Styles is on the level of a winner. Made sense in context. Yes. I mean, yes. Kelly Wilson, are you kidding? Everyone was Team Jinx in season 5. I probably missed something here. Dixie says the point that you made in regards to Bianca and Bob not winning at the public vote. The public voted. I take back my comment saying it would be nice to see the public vote for 1 year. I don't want even to see 1 year. I think the damage that would be done could be incredible. They changed something tiny in season 9 when they decided to change the format for the finale. And that format basically changed the winner of the season, because Sasha completely slayed the lip sync and it didn't matter if Shea had 4 wins at that point, because they changed the format. And they just changed a tiny bit in the format, and people are still discussing and killing each other on that today. You know, going with everything at it, even making it about race. You know, the only thing that's not about race, and they're making it about race. So I don't know. If they make a public vote, it will be a riot. And the point is, are you ever going to get back those fans once they went away? Reverse Bitch says, I think that Redacted was planned to be a villain. I don't know. It's really hard to say. She has been given some rewarding wins. And you know that the villain that is programmed to be long-term, the villain that goes all the way to the end until the top 4, that kind of villain, you know that villain needs a rewarding. So we know that villain wins challenges. That is the long-term villain. Then we have the short-term ones, like we had in this season. We had 2 short-term ones. I don't know, but judging by the way the network is reacting to this, I think there is a very high chance that she was not a villain, because last episode, the Untucked after Snatch Game, we've seen the bad side of her, and they didn't edit that out. So if they had a chance to portray her in an awful way, I think they would have taken that chance and we would have seen it. If we didn't see it, it's because probably she was not portrayed like that. It would be curious to see the whole edit. It would be curious. So maybe it will come out. Maybe it will leak somewhere and we'll get to see the whole edit and I can answer your question better. Because if I do find something like that, you can be sure I'm going to talk about it. Chet Lewis says, Jinx did pretty well despite being asleep for half the contest. Well, Jinx did pretty well despite being edited out until the Snatch Game. You barely noticed she was even there until the Snatch Game came out. Reverse Bitch says, I personally don't like season 3 and 5 because of the teams and the other shady girls. Well, season 3 was a little bit difficult for me to grasp because in the beginning it was so much sewing, and in the beginning I didn't see the craftiness behind it. I didn't understand it. What I did understand was the comedy side of drag. That's what I grew up with. That's what I know. So in the beginning I thought it was boring and I didn't really like it. I developed an appreciation for it when I came back to it years and years and years later. Season 5, well, season 5 is season 5. Come on. You have Detox, you have Alyssa, you have Jinx. I liked season 5. It was one of the best. The edit was strong in that season, but it was still a good edit. Kylie Wilson, someone sent Greenpeace to Ruth Ranch. I'm never going to stop joking about it. Lady Baconator, sorry I'm late. Girl, you are like 2 hours late. You missed all the fun. Did you know that RuPaul is fracking? Well, allegedly. We have to say allegedly. Amateur Season says, I didn't mean to call Jen mediocre. I meant she has never had a meaningful placement. Well, we knew that. Don't worry. We knew that. I am very, how can you say? It happens to me very often that I want to say one thing and the word that comes out, it's a completely different one. It happens to everyone. Don't worry. Lady Baconator, sometimes I forget that Crystal is still in this competition due to how little screen time she gets. She's not there. She's not there. I can tell you, in the last 2 weeks, I was convinced that she was no silent assassin and she was getting candy-hoed. Just because I like using the term, candy-hoed. But I don't understand. I don't understand what's going on with Crystal. I would like to see more, but I'm afraid that if I get to see more, they will probably portray her in not a very flattering way. There is only so much sugar that you can take before you become diabetic. Kylie Wilson, if they had lip sync for the crown in the past season, Bianca never would have won. That would have been a crime. Well, Bianca had a background in lip syncing. She did this whole thing with I don't know if you've seen the videos on YouTube, but you can find them. She did this whole thing with this. She was impersonating Cher, and she had this puppet with the partner. How was it called? Cher and well, it's 1 a.m. You gotta give me a pass with that. Amateur Season, Bianca is the best winner, period. Yes, I agree with that. I think she's also the one who is making most money of all of them. I don't know, maybe Katya and Trixie are closer to that. But yeah, I've seen a picture. I don't know if it was a joke. I have to say it. Maybe it was a joke. But I've seen a picture of Bianca recently where she took this picture in this beautiful house. You know, a kind of house that you look at it and you say, this costs $2, $3, $4 million. If it's in a good neighborhood, it's probably going 3 times that. So I don't know if she was joking, but that picture sure screamed opulence. You know, that's the only instance in which I could ever use that word. I will never use that word again. Sergio Bedola. I feel Heidi was in the bottom because they were afraid that Brita won the lip sync against Jackie. I don't think so. They can always make the lip sync work look better or worse depending on who they want to send home. I think that was done specifically to undermine Heidi climb to the top. They've done that before, and it's a pretty standard thing in this show. So we have to see. We have to see next episode. But I have this strong feeling that that was the exact purpose of it. Jeffrey Jill, how is Bianca the best? Well, it's a matter of opinion. Amateur season. Maybe it's because it's the first season I watched. She scored the best and was overall just the best. What if Shady goes home next week? I mean, I know she won't, but what if? Well, if she goes home next week, it means that I got so many things wrong. Like, so many things wrong. I should seriously start reviewing everything that I've done so far, because I completely misunderstood everything. If it happens. What I think is the possibility that it happens, less than 1%. It could still happen. You know, I wasn't there during filming, so I cannot tell you, yes, it will happen, no, it won't happen. But less than 1%. I don't think there is any realistic chance that she goes home. Velho765, thank you for a great live. I enjoyed it very much. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope I'm destroyed. I'm losing my voice. I'm still a little bit drunk. I want to smoke. I desperately want to smoke. It's been 2 hours. I need to smoke. And Kylie Wilson and Amateur Season, Opulence, you earn everything. Well, you got me to say that again. So there you go. Sergio Bedolla, I also feel like if the winner edit kept going on like now, Gigi won't win. People is getting hangry. I also feel like if the winner edit keep going on like now, Gigi won't win. I don't really get that. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I need to smoke. Ooh. Ayama. Bianca was sure of her skills before she came on. She made a lot of interview. Haima, sorry, I mispronounced your name. She did a lot of interview in which she said exactly these words. Well, she used exactly this kind of wording. At that point, she didn't really care. She had done drag for 20 years, and she thought, let's try this gamble. It can pay off, and it cannot pay off. If it doesn't pay off, am I satisfied with what I did so far? Yes, I am satisfied. So if it has to end, it has to end. But let's take this chance. That's the spirit that she went on. And that's the spirit that everybody should have when they go on. It's a gamble. It can pay off, it cannot pay off, but you should try to do the most with it. Okay. D. Gonzalez says, by boring, I mean not entertaining for TV. I don't think Jackie's untalented at all. Yes, I understand the concept. What I find extremely boring when I watch the show is when I realize that they didn't put that much effort in writing scripts or writing music. I mean, there is a lot of money going on with this show. I have no idea how much WoW is paid for selling the show. They probably have some kind of agreement going on in which they get a discount for something. So it's not like they have a packet and they sell it. That's not how it works with companies. But we can all agree that it's worth a lot of money. A lot of money. I would be curious to know how much a 15 seconds advertisement costs during an episode of Drag Race. Because I think we're talking about 70, 80,000 for 15 seconds. So, you know, you make the math. But I don't know. This is just my speculation. Daisy O'Gittens. What have I missed? The show. You missed the whole show. It's okay. It doesn't matter. D. Gonzalez says there's too much. He's going through the thread reading comments. Yes, it's going on for an hour. I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to enjoy it while it lasts. Okay, amateur season. What do you think was the best lip sync of the season? Well, you know that because I made a video about it, and you promised you were going to adopt it. So that's my favorite lip sync of the season. It was a beautiful song. Jada did a beautiful job with it. Everybody was living in the background. I loved it. Okay, guys, it was nice. It lasted too long, as usual. but who cares? If we all had a fine time, if we all kept each other companies, that is fantastic. So we're not going to do the live stream next week. Don't forget that. Next week, we're going directly to an episode of The Chop. And I will see you again in the live stream in 2 weeks. If there is any kind of communication, something that I need to tell you, there is the community tab on the channel, or you can write to us directly at TopRPDR Videos on Twitter. Okay, have a good night, a good afternoon if you are in the US, a good night if you're in Europe, and I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.